Union City, New Jersey is a place where life moves fast. People live close together, sharing walls and sidewalks. They know their neighbors, or at least they think they do. In the fall of 2017, the city was alive with the colors of autumn. Leaves turned yellow and red, and pumpkins appeared on every stoop. Halloween was approaching, a time for kids and families. It was a time of joy, not fear. But for one family, that joy turned into a nightmare that has not ended. A mother would vanish, leaving behind only questions and a chilling silence that hangs over the city to this day. The community was about to learn that sometimes the greatest danger is the one you never see coming. Alicia Ramos was a devoted mother of two. She worked hard at a local diner, saving every dollar for her children. On October 31st, 2017, she took her kids to the annual Halloween parade. They were dressed as superheroes, and Alicia was beaming with pride. She held their hands, laughing as they collected candy. Witnesses remember seeing her that evening, a bright smile on her face. She was the picture of happiness. After the parade, she dropped her children off with their grandmother for the night. She promised to pick them up the next morning, but Alicia never showed up. She disappeared into the cool autumn air, like a ghost swallowed by the night. The next morning, panic set in. Alicia's mother called her phone again and again, but there was no answer. She called Alicia's friends, her workplace, anyone she could think of. No one had seen her. It was as if she had stepped out of her life and vanished from the face of the earth. The police were called, and a missing person investigation began. Her apartment was untouched. Her wallet and keys were on the kitchen counter. Her car was still parked in its usual spot. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken windows, no forced entry. It was a clean disappearance, the kind that makes investigators' blood run cold. The days turned into weeks. Flyers with Alicia's face were posted on every lamppost and in every shop window. Her smile, once a source of warmth, now became a haunting reminder of a mystery no one could solve. The community searched, holding vigils and praying for her safe return. But as Halloween faded and Thanksgiving approached, hope began to dwindle. The police had no leads, no witnesses, and no suspects. Alicia Ramos had become a ghost story whispered in the streets of Union City. A loving mother was gone and a dark shadow had fallen over the town. The question on everyone's mind was simple. What happened to Alicia? In any neighborhood, there is always one person everyone can count on. In Alicia's building, that person was Kevin Wallace. He was a handyman who lived just one floor below her. He was in his late 40s, always friendly, and always ready to help. If you had a leaky faucet or a broken shelf, Kevin was the man to call. He had a reputation for being reliable and kind. He would carry groceries for the elderly residents and always had a polite word for everyone he met. No one ever had a bad thing to say about him. He was just Kevin, the helpful neighbor.
He was the first person to offer help. When my car broke down, he fixed it for free. He seemed so trustworthy.
Kevin was always so respectful. He'd call me Sir. He seemed like a good man, the kind you'd trust with your own family.
This universal praise made him invisible to suspicion. He was part of the background, a familiar and comforting presence. Why would anyone suspect the man who always smiled and said hello? He was simply part of the fabric of the community, woven in with threads of trust and kindness. But investigators are trained to look past the surface. As they dug deeper into Alicia's life, they started looking at everyone who knew her, no matter how trusted they seemed. They interviewed Kevin Wallace as a routine part of the investigation.
I was home alone that night, just watching a movie. I went to bed early.
His story was simple, and he told it without hesitation. He expressed concern for Alicia and her children, offering his full support to the police. On the surface, his alibi seemed plausible. He was just another worried neighbor. The police had nothing to hold against him. There were no inconsistencies in his story, no nervous tics, no red flags. He answered every question with a steady voice and a look of sincere concern. He even provided a list of odd jobs he had done for Alicia in the past, all minor repairs. He painted a picture of a friendly, neighborly relationship. The detectives thanked him for his time and moved on. For a little while, Kevin Wallace remained just another name on a long list of people who knew Alicia. The polite predator was hiding in plain sight. protected by a mask of normalcy that he had perfected over many years. The first break in the case came from a place no one expected. Weeks after Alicia disappeared, her mother was cleaning out her daughter's closet. She found a beautiful silk scarf, one Alicia wore often. She handed it over to the police, hoping it might hold a clue. The forensic lab went to work. Under a microscope, they found something that did not belong. Embedded in the delicate fibers of the scarf were tiny, unusual synthetic fibers. They were a distinct shade of industrial blue, the kind used in commercial-grade carpeting or the interior lining of work vans. It was a small clue, but it was the first tangible piece of evidence they had. This discovery sent detectives back to the drawing board. They started looking for a vehicle with that specific type of fiber. They began reviewing hundreds of hours of CCTV footage from the night Alicia vanished. On a grainy camera from a corner store 2 blocks from her apartment, they found it. A dark blue work van was seen driving away from Alicia's street at approximately 10:45 p.m. It was the only vehicle of its kind seen in the area that night. The license plate was not visible, but the van had a distinctive dent on its rear bumper. The police now had a ghost vehicle to hunt. And who in the neighborhood owned a dark blue work van? Kevin Wallace.
When we asked Kevin about his van, he told us it had been parked in a garage across town for repairs that night. His alibi, which had seemed so solid before, now had a crack in it.
We checked with the garage owner, but his memory was fuzzy. He remembered Kevin's van, but couldn't confirm the exact dates it was there.
The police also asked Kevin about any deleted text messages on his phone. He became defensive, saying he regularly cleared his messages to save space. It was another explanation that was plausible but also convenient. Too convenient. Despite their growing suspicions, the police were stuck. They had a van, strange fibers, and a weak alibi, but it was all circumstantial. They had no body, no murder weapon, and no confession. They couldn't prove that Alicia had ever been inside Kevin's van. They couldn't definitively place him with her on the night she disappeared. They searched his van and his apartment with a warrant but found nothing. The place was spotless, almost unnaturally clean. Without concrete proof, they could not make an arrest. Kevin Wallace walked free, still smiling politely at his neighbors, while the mystery of Alicia Ramos remained unsolved. Years passed. The case grew cold. Alicia's children grew up without their mother, and the missing person flyers faded and tore in the wind. The story of the polite predator became a local legend, a cautionary tale whispered among residents. Kevin Wallace eventually moved away from Union City, seeking a quieter life in another state. The investigation stalled, and for a long time it seemed the truth about Alicia's fate would be buried forever. The file sat on a detective's desk, collecting dust. But in the world of true crime, secrets have a way of clawing their way back to the surface, often when you least expect it. Justice, it seems, is patient. Then, on a spring day in May 2025, everything changed. A teenager fishing along the banks of the Hackensack River, just a few miles from Union City, found an old, mud-caked camcorder. It looked like it had been in the water for years. He took it home, and out of curiosity, he managed to clean it and charge the battery. To his astonishment, the camera still worked. It contained a single video clip, just 30 seconds long. The clip was dark and shaky, filmed inside what looked like the back of a van. The date stamp on the recording read October 31st, 2017. A woman's voice, filled with fear, could be heard saying, "Please just let me go, Kevin, why are you doing this?" The discovery of the camcorder blew the cold case wide open. The voice on the tape was identified by family members as Alicia Ramos. The name she spoke was Kevin. It was the smoking gun detectives had been searching for nearly 8 years. The cryptic clip did not show what happened next, and it did not reveal her final moments. But it placed her in a van, terrified, with a man named Kevin on the night she disappeared. The video was a voice from the past, a desperate plea for help that had finally been heard. The police immediately reopened the case, and Kevin Wallace, now living hundreds of miles away, was once again their prime suspect. Today, as of September 5, 2025, the investigation is active once more. The camcorder provides a powerful new piece of evidence, but the full story is still hidden in the shadows. Is Kevin Wallace the polite predator, a cold-blooded killer who masked his true nature behind a friendly smile? Or is there another explanation for the chilling voice on the tape? The final chapter in this story has yet to be written. The town of Union City holds its breath, waiting for an answer. And it is up to us, the public, to keep Alicia's memory alive and demand the truth, no matter how dark it may be. The hunt for justice continues. Gap 3S. The discovery of the camcorder ignited a media frenzy, with news outlets and true crime enthusiasts dissecting every frame of the haunting footage. The reopening of Alicia's case brought fresh eyes and new perspectives. Witnesses, once hesitant to speak, now came forward with chilling accounts. Gap 2S. A neighbor of Kevin Wallace recalled a strange encounter on the night Alicia disappeared. She remembered seeing Kevin's van parked oddly at the end of the street, its engine running. "I thought it was strange," she said, her voice trembling. "He looked nervous, like he was in a hurry." Gap 2S. Police transcripts revealed a series of disturbing 911 calls made by Alicia in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. In one call, she whispered frantically, "He's watching me again. I think he's outside my house." The operator tried to calm her, but the call abruptly ended. Gap 2S detectives also uncovered unsettling evidence from Kevin's past. An old high school yearbook contained a cryptic message written by Kevin to a classmate. "One day they'll see the real me." It was a chilling insight into a man who had managed to hide his dark side for years. Gap 2S. But the most shocking twist came from a forensic analysis of the camcorder. Experts discovered that the footage had been edited. The original recording was much longer, but someone had cut it down to 30 seconds. The missing footage could hold the key to solving the mystery, but it remained elusive. Gap 3S. As the investigation deepened, the case took another unexpected turn. Kevin Wallace vanished. His house was found empty, his belongings left behind. A note, scrawled in hurried handwriting, was discovered on his kitchen table. "You won't find me. The truth is buried with her." Gap 3S. The hunt for Kevin intensified, but he seemed to have vanished without a trace. The case of Alicia Ramos remains open, a puzzle with missing pieces. The camcorder, the witness statements, and the eerie 911 calls all point towards Kevin, but without him the full story remains untold. Gap 2S. Union City is left grappling with the unresolved mystery. The polite predator could still be out there, his true identity hidden behind a mask of normalcy. Alicia's family continues to seek justice, their hope mingled with fear and uncertainty. Gap 2S. The final chapter of this story remains unwritten, a haunting reminder that some secrets refuse to stay buried. The public's demand for the truth keeps the case alive, but the answers remain just out of reach. Gap 3S. And so, the shadow of doubt lingers over Union City, a chilling testament to the darkness that can hide behind a friendly face. The search for justice goes on, but the question remains, will the truth ever be uncovered? Or will Alicia Ramos's fate remain a ghostly whisper in the wind? Gap 3S. Months after Kevin Wallace's disappearance, a breakthrough shattered the silence that had gripped Union City. Forensic experts, working tirelessly, recovered the missing footage from Alicia's camcorder. The restored video revealed what everyone had feared and more. Kevin's face, once obscured by shadows, was now unmistakable. He was the polite predator. Gap 2S. The footage presented in court left no room for doubt. The families of Alicia and the other victims sat together, hands clasped, tears streaming down their faces. After years of uncertainty, the truth had finally come to light. Alicia's mother, her voice thick with emotion, addressed the press outside the courthouse. "We waited so long for this day, we never gave up hope. Alicia can finally rest." Gap 2S. Detective Ramirez, who had devoted years to the case, spoke softly to the gathered reporters. "Justice isn't always swift, but today it's real. We honor Alicia by never forgetting her and by making sure no one else falls victim to monsters who hide in plain sight." Gap 2S. As Kevin's conviction made headlines, Union City breathed a collective sigh of relief. The families, though forever changed, found a measure of peace. In the courtroom's hushed aftermath, a sense of closure settled over the city. Fragile, but real. Gap 2S. The story of Alicia Ramos will never be forgotten. Her courage and the relentless pursuit of truth by her loved ones became a beacon for others. As the music swells, we remember, even in the darkest times, hope endures. Gap 3S. The final chapter is no longer unwritten. Justice at last has a name. Gap 2S.